Yes, sir. Hello, it's the FCS CheckDown. Nathan McCreary, Coach Ron, Jackson, Brandon's likely to be joining us a little bit later. Maybe. We'll see. As we got week 12 here in the FCS, we got some great games coming up. Coach Jackson, you had a death in the family. Want to acknowledge that first. So sorry. Condolences to your family. You had to miss yesterday's show, which was kind of an audible anyway, but glad you're back. We certainly did miss you. And I know the chat missed you as well. We had a guy who checked in and said, hey, I just found you guys a couple weeks ago. I love the chat. I love the logo conversation. I said, yeah, that Coach Jackson would have loved that. So how the heck are you? And again,
don't encourage me there. Don't encourage me there.
Well, we'll have to look at some of these logos these games coming up. But how are you?
You know what? I can't complain. My aunt did pass away earlier in the week, and she was in her 80s and lived a long, beautiful life. I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate all the people reaching out to wish me well. Tomorrow's going to be a good celebration, and life goes on.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is today? Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
So,
yeah.
Got some good football going on. I know Friday I'm gonna head back up to Richmond, Kentucky to get that final home game. And I got to pick up my decanter set with the cups that I made.
Nice. By the way, I saw the video. How fun was the freaking glass blowing?
Dude, that's probably one of the craziest things I've ever done. It was amazing. And my wife absolutely loved it. It was, pardon my French, hella fun and hella expensive.
Well, you know.
I had no idea how thank you, New Age. I had no idea, but dude, it was so very fun. My quick story. Part of something that we were making when the glass broke off, it landed on the ground. Well, my wife, I had it'd been several minutes or a little while, yeah. And when I got up to do part of my thing, I inadvertently kicked it. Well, my wife is like, yeah, she thought that I didn't kick something over behind. She went to go pick that joker up.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
I told her, I said, baby, I wouldn't do that. And she said, well, you can't leave no trash. And I was like, well, okay. And she got just a little bit of it. And I told her, I said, baby, I believe that piece of glass there needs to cool for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's okay. Thank goodness. But, man, we had a great time. If you get a chance to go blow some glass, go blow some glass.
All right, that sounds good. Speaking of blowing glass, oh, look, I got your names backwards. Let me do this. Brandon Joseph joining us. Brandon, we're going back to back.
I got the upgrade.
Have we ever done back-to-back shows?
Not this year.
Definitely not this year. But I mean, yeah, it's been a lot. I mean, the fact that your wife's allowing you to join us, much appreciated. Much appreciated. All right.
Well, there's a chance a 3-year-old loses his mind during the podcast, so we'll see.
Let's go ahead and get to it. We got some great shows, great games coming up. First thing I want to do, guys, is go around the FCS. Lyle's back. Hey, guy, Lyle, back in with you. Get some chats. Oopsie-daisy. On the show here, and Chris Monstrangelo also checking in. So nice to see you guys checking in here. And the conferences are kind of clearing up. We've got in the Big Sky, Montana State. They're both undefeated. It's Montana versus Portland State and Montana State versus UC Davis this weekend. And the CAA, Rhode Island and Maine will tee off, and then Monmouth at NC-A&T, Villanova, Stony Brook, and of course Maine at Rhode Island. In the Ivy League, Harvard has Yale, and Yale has Princeton. So it's just some games to watch. In the MEAC, you've got Delaware State versus Howard and South Carolina State, North Carolina State. We're going to preview that game. I think that's going to be a pretty interesting one to talk about. That's a Friday night game. In the MVSC, the automatic qualifier has gone to North Dakota State, but they still have some great games. We'll talk about those games as North Dakota State at Murray State, Illinois State at South Dakota State. That's going to be a tricky one there for South Dakota State. We'll talk about that one as well. South Dakota and I tell you what, Youngstown State and Indiana State should be an interesting one as well. And then in the NEC, we'll spend some time in the NEC. It's Central Connecticut facing Duquesne. It's essentially the championship game there for the NEC. So excited to talk about some NEC football here this afternoon, this evening. Patriot League, Lehigh at Colgate, Lafayette at Richmond. Those are both very tight conferences. So if both of those teams are undefeated in conference, so we'll see how that goes. Drake at Dayton, St. Thomas at Presbyterian, San Diego versus Butler. Mercer has clinched the Southern Conference, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time there. Southland could be a mess. It's Stephen F. Austin versus Lamar. SELA as Southeastern Louisiana faces UIW. Should be good as well. And then the United Athletic Conference, Abilene Christian at EKU, Tarleton at North Alabama, and Southern Utah still in the hunt for the UAC, by the way. Southern Utah, and maybe even a playoff spot. So we'll see. They are facing Central Arkansas. So before we get started, Coach Jackson, I know you didn't get a chance to join us yesterday. How was your thought on the Week 11? Real quick, some of the upsets, obviously, South Dakota State losing again, and Monmouth losing as well. So just your thoughts on that.
Well, this time of year, you're going to get everybody's best shot. The Monmouth game probably surprised me the most, and not that they lose, but the amount that they lost by, and really didn't play too well. So I'm hoping that's a get right game for Monmouth, because I still think that they're one of the better teams. Yeah. But the other thing that I would tell you is that the playoff picture got a little cloudier and got a little clearer all at the same time. So that's one of the things that I love about FCS football.
Yeah. And I tell you one thing, and Chris Monstrongo coming in, that Robertson is likely to be back against Albany. But you know what? It was New Hampshire stopping Rodney Nelson in that run game. I was really impressed with New Hampshire. And that kind of asks, he mentions earlier 4 teams out of the CAA. I think that's probably accurate, just because we talked about earlier in the season the culture and the history of the CAA because they kind of get those bids maybe they didn't deserve just because there's a CAA and they're to falling off a little bit conference wise, difficulty wise, but it still is the CAA. And Brandon, I don't know if you had anything to say on that, but I think CAA's got 4 teams.
Well, I think it's going to be really tough because, as we talked about last week and then earlier this week, there's not really a lot separating these teams in the mid-pack. So what's the difference between Team 2 and potentially 5 in a lot of these conferences? You have to make that determination. Then you have to make a determination of how many deserve to be in.
Right.
I think the default, and we're starting to see it this week, I think the coach up there in Brookings kind of made reference to the fact that his quarterback may be back in the next couple of weeks. They're unsure if he's going to play this week, but he's close. They're not going to say rule him out just yet. And I told you exactly what this is going to be. This is that politicking for a spot. Like, hey, what we are with our quarterback back, so consider us that team and not the team that you've seen for the last 3 weeks and the team you're probably going to see for the next 2 weeks, and use that as the benchmark to put us into the playoffs. So I think you're going to see a lot more politicking coming from a lot of these teams 2 and 5 in conferences, because there's not really much to separate them.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and get into the preview for week number 12. The first game we're going to talk about is that Friday night matchup, South Carolina State at North Carolina Central. It was South Carolina State picking up a win a season ago, 24-21. They lead the overall series 6-5. Stakes couldn't be higher for South Carolina State, as they are trying to hang with Delaware State, both 3-0 there in the MEAC, with the Bulldogs holding the tiebreaker over the Eagles. And NCCU at 2-1 must win to keep their celebration dreams alive if they want to compete for that. So should be a good shootout. The Eagles are led by dual threat quarterback Walker Harris, who's got over 2,732 passing yards and 21 touchdowns, while running back Chris Mosley tops the ground attack with 829 yards for the Bulldogs. Watch out for their offense that puts up over 31 points per game, powered by their receiving leader Jordan Smith and his 9 receptions and 87 yards against Bethune-Cookman earlier this year. Let's go ahead and talk about the game picks on this one, and I'm gonna let the chat jump in here, and if they want to make a pick, we'll kind of take the majority rule kind of pick. But South Carolina State, North Carolina State, Coach Jackson, I'm gonna let you start here. What are you thinking on this? It's a Friday night game, nationally televised, ESPN2. Who you got?
You know, I like I like the Harris kid at quarterback for NCC State.
Mm-hmm.
I think they run the ball a little bit better than South Carolina State. Defense is going to be about even. I'm going to take North Carolina Central in this particular ball game. I think it's going to be a good game. And like you say, South Carolina State is fighting for their side. But I just think North Carolina Central is a little bit better right now. They're a little bit better in the passing game, a little bit better in the running game. Defense is about even. Give me the Eagles.
You know, one of the things that South Carolina State, they seem to sneak up on people. Seem like this time of year, you hadn't talked about them all year long, and all of a sudden you're going, oh, they're undefeated in the MEAC. Oh, they've had some good wins. Despite their logo kind of being silly with the bulldog marching through this, you know, the letter S, they seem to always step up. And you know what? In big games, they win. I'm going to go with South Carolina State here, Brandon. Who are you thinking?
Here's the tough thing for South Carolina State. They're playing their two toughest teams back-to-back in North Carolina Central, and then they'll close out with Delaware State. No matter what happens for South Carolina State, then the game next week against Delaware State will determine who represents the MEAC in the Celebration Bowl. So this is kind of a zero-sum game for them. A win can make it really awkward because – and then if South Carolina State beats Delaware State. No, that's whatever. The most important thing is that South Carolina State, their game next week will determine the representative of the MEAC. But I think in this week, North Carolina Central is the better team, better offensive weapons, and I think that's going to be a factor at home at O'Kelly-Riddick Stadium.
All right, so South Carolina State for me, and Chris Monstranglo there in the chat, and NCCU for Coach Jackson and Brandon. All right, we'll take that. The game that next is, and we don't get a chance to talk about the Pioneer League all that much, but Drake and Dayton. We kind of talked about this game a little bit earlier, or talked about these two teams early in the season. It's a 12 o'clock game. Dayton picked up the win last year, 27-14 over Drake. It's Dayton that leads the series 11-7 with winning the last three games. The last loss to Drake for Dayton was 2018. So there's a three-way tie for second place right now. Desperate for a win to keep pace in league is Drake. The victory locks up at least a share of the PFL championship. Statistically, this matchup is built on defense if you take a look at it. The Bulldogs have a stingy defense led by sack leader Gene Blaylock and 3 sacks, and Josh Williams leading the PFL in interceptions. Sean Allison leads the PFL in tackles with he's averaging almost 11 tackles per game. The Flyers are holding opponents to under 18 points per game and have Vincent Ferenzi, who leads the PFL in tackles and solo tackles, and Brandon Martin, who leads in tackles for loss. Dayton's offense, however, is explosive through the air, powered by quarterback Bryce Schondelmeyer, who leads the Flyers with over 1,412 yards passing, 16 touchdowns. On the ground, look for Drake's leading rusher, Nick Herman, to pound the ball, while Dayton counters with Luke Hansen, Mason Hackett, and Gavin LaChow. The three-headed monster there for Dayton. Hansen has 504 yards and 7 touchdowns. LaChow is a dual threat in the run game and receiving game, has 10 total touchdowns, while Drake quarterback Logan Inagawa leads the Pioneer League in completion percentage. But listen, Drake has a field goal kicker, Harry Balke, who's number 5 in the nation, number 1 in the PFL in field goals per game. He leads the conference in scoring as well. So this should be an interesting one. This is a heavy game for Drake. And if Dayton wants to stay alive, they need to pick up the win. Brandon, I'll let you start here.
Yeah, Dayton wins this game. We have total chaos in the PFL. You will have, 5 teams, essentially with potentially the same record, and not everybody played each other, so you won't have a natural way to solve this. They may be all meeting up in a parking lot and picking lots or flipping coins to determine who gets the auto bid out of the PFL. And really, those who give out the least amount of scholarships and more true to the PFL model um, will be the representative. But I think for Dayton to win this game, they want to go big in scoring. Drake wants to keep it low in scoring. I think it's more of a pathway for Dayton at home, potentially to try to just make it a shootout. I think for Drake, they want it to be a closer game. They want it to be in the realm of 28 points to win the game. I think that's where they like to win it. I think Dayton, they're all up for going 35 plus in scoring. So give me the Flyers.
All right, I'm going to go with Drake on this one. I thought Dayton, they have been so inconsistent in certain areas. I like their defense, but I think Drake understands the mission here, and I'm going to go with Drake on this one, Coach Jackson.
You know, I like y'all's analogy. I'm going to try and go a different direction, though. Drake is a lame-ass rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Dayton would appear to me to be a lame-ass country singer. And when I compare their logos, Drake's logo is lamer than Dayton's logo. I like Dayton's logo a little bit better. It's a home game for Dayton. Give me the Flyers.
All right, and if I'm not mistaken, is Dayton coming off a bye? I'm not sure.
The Flyers are coming off of a bye, yes.
Yeah.
That's my formula.
That's the formula. Bye at home. Go with the home team. Well, all right. I'm the lone dog there. Uh-oh. All right, I'm going to go with Drake. You guys have Dayton. That's cool. It's cool. All right, up next we've got, oops-a-daisy. Let's see, where'd I go here? I've got Central Connecticut and Duquesne. Oh, by the way, before we get to this game, real quick, side note on Dayton running back Levy Moel. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. He's been named the 2025 winner of the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Merit Award presented to by the Football Writers Association of America. He is a veteran, military veteran, served in the Marine Corps and has exited the Marine Corps and now playing football. So they give this award to somebody who is a military veteran or has had an impact in the military in playing college football. And he was selected as a redshirt junior at West Liberty, Ohio. He served 4 years in the Marine Corps, standout high school football career, choosing military service over college at 18 years old. He joined the Flyer football program in 2022. This season, he's battled through ankle injury to return to travel squad and seen action in 3 games and 8 carries, 41 yards. But pretty cool award there for Dayton's running back, Levi Moel.
Glad he's getting that award. He isn't getting a scholarship.
Well, I mean, Marine Corps probably has a GI Bill.
Yeah. He's paid for.
Yeah, he's paid for, but he earned it. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
All right, Central Connecticut and Duquesne. Central Connecticut, you see 7-3, 5-0. Duquesne 5-5 and 3-2. Duquesne really trying to stay alive in the conversation in the NEC. Last meeting, Central Connecticut picked up the win, 21-14, but it's Duquesne who leads the overall series, 9-8, and they lost last year's. It should be a good one in the NEC conference. The championship's on the line here. It's undefeated in conference. The Blue Devils traveling to take on the Dukes. Listen, NEC, Central Connecticut, they control their own destiny. If they win, they're going to be the champion. They're riding a 5-game win streak. Their offense is led by dual-threat quarterback Brady Olson, who boasts a 1,916 yards through the air, 14 touchdowns, and running back Elijah Howard has almost 700 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. But it's the Dukes who are fighting to stay alive in that title race. You know, when you got somebody in the corner and you've a caged animal, they could come out fighting. They got that veteran quarterback Tyler Riddell, and the NEC's passing leader in touchdowns. He's got 21 on the season. Running back David Ness and wide receiver Joel Isabella are their offensive weapons. They've racked up 683 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns, has Isabella. So, Central Connecticut at Duquesne. I'll go ahead and start here. I don't see any reason why you would pick Duquesne. I know they're at home, but Central Connecticut has been rolling. I like what they do. I'm a little scared because Tyler Riddell has stepped up in big games in the past. But I'm going to go with Central Connecticut, Coach Jackson.
Yeah, you can't come out of the corner fighting with a lame cape and top hat and all that mess going on. And logo right there. That D is lame too. Plus, we've been on Central Connecticut for a couple of years. We watched them build and come on. So I'm going with Central Connecticut. I'm going with the Blue Devils.
Yeah, Chris Monstronglo checking in real quick before you pick. Brandon says Duquesne has looked horrible in the last 2 weeks. Central Connecticut riding that 5-game win streak. Who you got?
Yeah, I think this is the Tyler Riddell story. It's ebbs and flows, highs and lows, and you were very nice when you said veteran. He's a journeyman quarterback at this point. He's been around, and I don't want to make a knock on Tyler Riddell, but
Sure.
He hasn't been on teams that won big games. I mean, Gardner-Webb, ETSU, and I don't see this Duquesne team being any different. Give me the Blue Devils of Central Connecticut.
All right, across the board, Central Connecticut. Up next, a little bit more of a known
talent
game, more talented. It's going to be Rhode Island and Maine. This should be a good one, guys. 8-2 for Rhode Island, 6-0 in the conference. Maine 6-4, 5-1. This is a Flow Sports game, so you can't watch it anywhere. Last meeting, URI won 24-14 over Maine, but Maine has the series 11-5. I was a little bit surprised about that. It's a 1 p.m. Eastern start for this one, and Rhode Island looks to stay perfect in the CAA, secure that top seed in the FCS playoffs, but the Black Bears, winners of 6 straight, stand in their way, battling through Monmouth and Villanova for the runner-up spots. A win keeps Maine in the title hunt and virtually guarantees a playoff for the Black Bears. For the Rams, look for Devin Farrell, who leads the team with over almost 2,800 yards passing and 8 touchdowns. He connects often with wide receiver Marquez Buchanan, who's got 902 yards through the air. The Black Bears have a potent ground game and a pair of 600-yard rushers in Sincere Baines and Rashawn Marshall. So it's going to be Rhode Island and the Bears. Coach Jackson, I'll let you start here. This is a tricky one, very tricky.
Yeah, both teams are pretty good. Maine's got what it takes to beat Rhode Island. I just don't think it's going to happen. Rhode Island is, in my opinion, they the class of the CAA. I think they get it done. So yeah, let me have Rhode Island. Again, I'm gonna have to clown them on their logo. It looks like the little dude, 2 colors, a R and an I. There's no creativity going on right there. So I hope they play better than the logo looks.
All right, Brandon, who you got?
Maine wins this game, and we do have a scenario where I believe they'll have no choice but to put 4 in from the CAA. I think if Maine loses this game, they'll make a case potentially for 3. Maine could still potentially be on the outskirts looking in. They would have to definitely win out from that point when the finale for them. These are two really.
Carter Peavy over there.
Yeah.
Maine has been kind of like a quarterback.
These are really.
You know what I'm saying? I mean.
Yeah, this is a really equal matchup. It's a really tough game to pick. I'm going to lean towards Maine at home. Not really much of a difference there. It's not like Rhode Island's coming from Hawaii and 82 degrees to go up there to play Maine. It ain't anything like that, but just give me the lean for the Black Bears at home. I don't have a line on this game. I would have to say it's probably, if you find it somewhere, Maine getting, 2.5 to 3.5 points just because they're the home team. But honestly, this is a pick'em game.
Chris Monstronglo goes with Maine. Brandon with Maine. I'm with you, Coach Jackson. I'm going to think Rhode Island kind of gets it done. I can't clown them on their logo because when they have the Ram helmet, with the blue and the light blue, it's that nothing.
That looks good. It's the doctor's eye right there.
I'm not a fan of the split color on the thing, but
and literally it looks like 2 R, one good R and one kind of wonky R, and walked into each other. It's awful.
By the way, Ron Lowney's checking in, talking about Montana State. We're going to talk about Montana State here shortly, Ron, and he's going with Maine as well for this one. So should be a good one. That's going to be one
Ron is wrong
to watch. Yeah, Ron's. How can you go wrong with Ron's? You know what I'm saying?
That Ron is wrong.
Well, okay, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Oh, I see what I've done. I remember clicking something. I didn't realize I took myself off the stupid thing. Let me see. Oh, not that. Not that. Oh, was that it? Oh, wait. No, not that. Somehow I've lost my name. There we go. And we're going to talk about this game, South Dakota and Southern Illinois. Didn't someone last week say, we said it was so professional?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. All right. South Dakota and Southern Illinois. South Dakota 7-4, 5-2. They're second in the MVFC quietly, believe it or not. Southern Illinois 6-4, 3-3. South Dakota absolutely kicked Southern Illinois right in the freaking crotch. The 42-13, and they lead the overall series 6-4. They've won the last three. It's going to be a fantastic matchup. Number 17 in some polls, number 22 in others for South Dakota Coyotes, whereas Southern Illinois 21 and 23 respectively. For South Dakota, a win secures a place in the FCS playoffs and likely a top 3 finish in the MVFC. They rely heavy on the ground with running back power star L.J. Phillips, who leads the team with impressive 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. Quarterback Aiden Bauman adds to the offense, 1,843 yards, 13 passing touchdowns. Southern Illinois, they need a win. We talked about that earlier. This should be a chance for them to keep their playoff hopes alive. The offense driven by a strong passing game led by DJ Williams, 2,384 yards, 18 touchdowns. Oh, by the way, he leads the team in rushing as well with over 700 yards rushing and 14 touchdowns. Davis Vincent III and Jay Jones, our favorite wide receivers, with 4 touchdowns apiece. Brandon, who you got?
For South Dakota, it's not fair to them. They completely dominate South Dakota State in the second half, and still the projection shows that you're not better than them. You win the head-to-head, and everybody goes, well, you're still not better than them because whatever reason. For Southern Illinois, they're 0-3 against the 3 biggest teams, the toughest teams that they faced this year in conference play. That would be North Dakota State, and Youngstown State, the 3 best teams that they've played so far, 0-3 against them. This would be the 4th best team that they played to this point in conference. I think they get the win at home against the Coyotes. I think for the Coyotes, this is going to be a great game, a 4-quarter game. But I just think for the Coyotes, they're going to go out there and they're going to try to prove something that I don't think they necessarily have to prove. And if you're not on crisp against Southern Illinois, who's playing for their playoff lives, I think the Salukis just have that back against the wall, going to have to scratch and claw their way out of it.
So you're going with...
I'm taking the Salukis.
Salukis. All right. You know what? I'm with you. I think DJ, I think Aiden Bauman, I've mentioned, is a problem. I just think he's inconsistent. He has just looked to me like somebody that has taken a step back, and that's nothing against the young man. He's an extremely talented quarterback, but I think he has been someone that hasn't been able to push through whatever and get this team a win. So I'm going with Southern Illinois as well. They've got to find a way to stop the run, Coach Jackson.
Listen, L.J. Phillips Jr., he's a dude.
Yeah.
I believe
the other Ron said a load. I love that. Yeah, he's a load.
He's a dude. And, listen, if South Dakota can throw it adequately, lean on L.J. Phillips a little bit. My problem with Southern Illinois is that they tend to become one-sided to me. And if they become just a passing team and are not able to run the ball, I don't think they have much success against South Dakota. So I'm going to go with the old Paw Patrol logo, and I'm going to go with the South Dakota Coyotes to come in Carbondale and eke out a win.
Okay, so South Dakota and the chat has got South Dakota, and Coach Ron has South Dakota. And Coach Ron Lowney says, they get 6 playoffs, 6 bids to the playoffs for the Missouri Valley? I'll tell you, I'm going to look at the rankings right now. North Dakota State clinched, South Dakota, Illinois State, North Dakota, South Dakota, Youngstown State, Southern Illinois. Who are you leaving out of that? I'm leaving out Youngstown State probably. And if Southern Illinois loses, I'm leaving them out as well, which would leave a 4-bid team. But
how are you putting in South Dakota State? They're not good.
I listen. I agree with you, but I think that they're going to find a way. I think the committee's going to have a hard time.
Absolutely,
they're still in the top 10.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. But I've watched South Dakota State play. They're not good without their quarterback. And again, it goes back to what we talked about if you listened earlier in the week. South Dakota State wants you now to look at them on the potential, They don't want anybody else to look at Western Carolina's quarterback. If that potential of that offense, they could put up 90 points a game on pure potential. But
Right.
for South Dakota State, we're going to have to ignore the fact that they're not very good without their quarterback, and who knows when he's coming back, despite the fact that you tease them potentially coming back. But they're not a very good team right there. So at that point, it's 5 to me. At that point, are we looking at potential national championship teams? Because if so, do I put in Youngstown State? Because I don't necessarily believe that if you put them in the playoffs or Southern Illinois, that they can win a national championship. I think North Dakota State could. I think Illinois State potentially could make a run. North Dakota could potentially make a run also. That's 3 legitimate teams. So now if we're saying, okay, where else do we have things in there? North Dakota, they've earned their way in there. They've won the games that were put in front of them. That's 4. I think you have 4 legitimate bids in there.
Mhm.
But yeah, absolutely. I think they get 5 in because South Dakota State is playing with some lineage, heritage type deal to try to get themselves in there, despite the fact that they lost 3 in a row. Looks like they're potentially going to lose 4 in a row, and everybody goes, well, they just have to win 1 more. I don't know of a team that loses 4 consecutive games against FCS opponents that goes in there and goes, you know what, we deserve to be a playoff team. But you know what, let the bunnies be the bunnies.
If South Dakota State loses another game, I think the conversation is going to be. Unless I have to be.
I think they lose this week. Here's the pick. The bunnies lose this week.
Well, Illinois State, Illinois State, and North Dakota on the road at North Dakota. All right. So if Chase Mason isn't back, and I don't think Chase Mason's the only problem South Dakota State has.
You don't play defense.
Put me in a freaking promo video like they did a couple years ago.
Right. You don't like me. What do I care?
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I love Ron says lots of chaos coming. Chris Monstrongo has an excellent point here. If Lafayette beats Lehigh or Yale beats Harvard, it's going to be there'll be less bubble teams, and I think that's exactly right. So those one-bid leagues. It's going to get tricky. It's going to get tricky.
They'll come out of the CAA because the committee is so freaking high on the Missouri Valley Football Conference. I don't know what they smoke or what they give them to smoke, but they are higher than high on this conference year in, year out. We see it.
Yeah. Brandon Haddock checking in. What's up, Brandon? We'll talk about NAU here shortly. We're not going to pick that game. I think it's probably going to be a stinker, but that's okay. All right. So I didn't really want to pick this next game coming up, but I feel like we got to talk about it, guys. It's Tennessee Tech and Kentucky, just because there's just a lot of noise around it right now with Tennessee Tech being 10-0 and Kentucky 4-5. It's an FCS FBS opponent with a OVC and SEC matchup. And the last meeting, 1951, Kentucky won 72-13. It's the only time these two teams have matched up. It's going to be a fascinating matchup here as number 6 Tennessee Tech in the FCS fly to Lexington to face the Kentucky Wildcats. Classic money game, right? We can say that. It's massive upset-minded FCS darling Tennessee Tech looks for its chance for a massive leap on the national recognition for an upset. For Kentucky, it's a chance to shore up for bowl eligibility. They need a win. I don't think it counts towards bowl eligibility, though, does it, the FBS? I don't remember.
You can count 1.
Yeah, you get one.
That's right. That's right.
One a year, and there's a rolling count.
Yeah. So for Tennessee Tech, Kiko Vesperis leads the team with over 2,100 yards passing, 22 touchdowns. Running back Quintel Quinn has racked up 655 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns. The Wildcats will lean on their own ground game with Seth McGowan with 529 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. Top wideout Kendrick Law leads in the receiving with 351 yards and 3 scores. Quarterback Cutter Boley has come in relief of Zach Calzada. Hello. This thing on? Zach Calzada, he's still around. He's playing. He's their backup quarterback, former UIW, Texas A&M, and where else was he? He was other places, Auburn or something? I can't remember. But he came in. He actually relieved Calzada, who struggled early, and has thrown for 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns, but 8 interceptions. If Tennessee Tech's going to win this game, they have got to turn the ball over, and they've got to convert third downs, in my opinion. I just do not see that. I just can't pick Tennessee Tech, honestly, to win this football game, Coach Jackson. But I wanted us to talk about it because it is in the zeitgeist. So what say you about this game?
Well, for one, Tennessee Tech's got the better logo than University of Kentucky.
Obviously.
for two, they hadn't been. Let's see. Last time they were 9-0, I believe, is 1952, and they've never been 10-0. So congratulations right off the rip to Tennessee Tech. I don't know why they're playing Kentucky this late in the season. I personally wouldn't do that. Kentucky's not good. Calzado's out there counting his money. I think Tennessee Tech keeps it close for maybe a half. I think you get a chance to see how good Tennessee Tech's defense is. I don't think I think Kentucky wins. I'm thinking maybe 28-19.
So they cover
35-21, something like that. It probably gets away from maybe in the last part of the fourth quarter. I don't know why. I just don't know why they play them this late in the season, headed into the playoffs. But
yeah, remember Mercer played Alabama a couple years ago. They've got Auburn also. So
yeah, it's the SEC charity weekend, like they call it in the SEC.
It's going away, by the way. It's going away.
I mean, yeah, this is what the SEC people call it their charity weekend. They cut a check and they get a win.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee Tech makes their school proud, but I don't think that I don't think they win the game. I think it's probably 35-21, 35-24.
Yeah.
I hope everybody gets out of the game healthy.
I think they cover. Brandon, any thoughts on this game?
I mean, Kentucky's going to win the game. The question is the cover going to happen? I'm looking at this as the Kiko Vesperis audition tape. He could very well, after this game ends, get an offer for Kentucky next year to be their quarterback with his year of eligibility. That's what it's going to be. He's going to play against the best defense that he's going to see, and they're going to be bigger, stronger, than faster than his offensive line. He's going to have to run for his life, but if Trinidad Chambliss can come out of Ferris State and get an offer and ultimately now lead the Ole Miss Rebels to a college football playoff berth, Kiko Vesperis can against this Kentucky defense. And listen, they are bigger, stronger, faster. The cornerbacks can go one-on-one. It's going to be tough, but if he can have any semblance of putting on tape of going, hey, he can play at this level, guess what? He's going to play at that level next year. So for Tennessee Tech, you're going to get a check for this game, but you're going to lose Kiko Vesperis. And he has 1 year left. He has a graduate year. He is a true senior, so he has a graduate year. He's going to get offers out of this game. I think Tennessee Tech probably loses this game by 19 points when it's all said and done. It's just you're playing against an SEC team. Kentucky's going to be able to run the ball up front and be able to dictate the code of conduct or the battle plan for this game. So I think ultimately it's going to be an easy win for the Wildcats. But again, I'm only watching this for Kiko Vesperis and what he can do against a Kentucky defense and what that could open up doors for him potentially in the future.
Just come out healthy. That's what Coach Wilder knows.
Watch the special teams. That's even if Tennessee Tech is close to them on offense, close to them on defense, what the difference is probably in special teams.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we all have UK. Get that out of the way. Now back to the regularly scheduled program here. UT Martin needs a win. They play Charleston Southern, who's playing a lot better. They're 4-6, 3-3. UT Martin 5-5, but 5-1 in the conference. Was it 3 of those their losses are FBS, if I'm not mistaken? The last meeting between this one, UT Martin won 40-14 last year. Matter of fact, Charleston Southern has never beaten UT Martin. It's a crucial late season matchup there in the OVC in the Big South. So UT Martin Skyhawks host Charleston Southern Buccaneers and are currently in sole position of second place, riding a 4-game win streak. A win here keeps them firmly in the hunt and a share of the conference title. Chasing with the undefeated Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles would help them with the win. They're coming Charleston Southern coming off a 3-game win streak of their own, looking to climb the middle of the pack. And on offense, the Skyhawks lean on a strong run game led by the quarterback Jace Bauer, who is a real dual threat kid. He boasts impressive 72% completion percentage of the year. Charleston Southern's paced by quarterback Zoltan Osborne, who has thrown for 1,795 yards, 9 touchdowns. Running back Marion Baldwin is the team's leader with 574 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns on the ground. Charleston Southern, UT Martin. I'm going to say UT Martin gets this done and continues that win streak. Brandon, what you say you?
Yeah, the thing about Jace Bowers is he doesn't push the ball down the field very well, but he's going to throw the check down very well, and he's going to not necessarily hurt you with his decision making, and he's going to have the ability to use his legs. I just think it's a little bit too much for Charleston Southern, and credit to them. They're playing good football finally, but they're not going to beat, in my opinion, Skyhawks.
Coach Jackson, thoughts?
Yeah, you can make it across the board. Jason Simpson does a great job. I don't think it's going to be too terribly close. The thing that I would bet on is I bet the Charleston Southern bus gets a ticket, speeding ticket on the way to Martin. The speed limits there go from 55 to 25 about every 15, 20 yards.
And from experience, Coach Jackson, or
oh yeah, that'll happen. They'll get a speeding ticket, but that's about the only ticket they're gonna win. I'm gonna go with the Skyhawks.
The final game for UT Martin is Tennessee Tech. All right, so gotta focus here. Got to really focus. Chat says UT Martin as well. Ron Lowney comes in with a comment about the last three of last year's top Heisman candidates were all FCS transfers. Yeah, absolutely. So we want to keep some of that FCS talent, hopefully. So we'll see. Yeah, and another Chris Monstrangelo, another killer for bubble teams if UT Martin beats TTU next week. Yeah, that will be something else if they can do that. All right. Moving on. Up next, we've got Presbyterian and the Tommies. Presbyterian needs a win to stay alive. St. Thomas also needs a win to stay alive. It's 8-2 and 4-2 for Presbyterian, 7-3 and 5-2 for St. Thomas. St. Thomas absolutely kicked the crap out of Presbyterian last year, 46-17. So the Tommies have never lost to the Blue Hose. So it was a massive win last week for the Tommies as they picked up a win. And Brandon called it, of course. That was against Drake. This game is a must-win for both teams. Like I said, it's to keep pace for the PFL title, automatic FCS playoff bid. St. Tommy's Presbyterian here. Presbyterian offense is electric. They led by Zach Switzer, a team-high 730 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns for St. Thomas. They match fire with fire, boasting an efficient passing game anchored by Andy Peters, who's got 1,900 yards passing and 17 touchdowns. Get ready for some defense, though. Both units rank in the top 2 in the PFL with fewest points allowed, just giving up over 16 points per game. I think I got the pick on this one. Brandon made me a believer last week. I'm going to go with St. Thomas. They're at home and knock off Presbyterian, who had a great start to the year, but reality comes quick. So I'm going to go with St. Thomas, Coach Jackson.
Man, this is a tough one. To me, it's a pick. I'm gonna go with the Tommies, but just because they got them at home, I expect Presbyterian to put up a good show. I'll be interested to see how both defenses play. I think Presbyterian's got a little bit better defense than the Tommies. I just think the Tommies got a little bit better offense than Presbyterian's got. So give me the Tommies.
Brandon?
So St. Thomas has only lost 4 games in the month of November since they moved up to the FCS. 3 of them were last year in the down year of St. Thomas when they finished 6-6. I mean, you don't just walk into O'Shaughnessy Stadium and expect to get a win, especially in November. Presbyterian's not going to have that happen to them. If there was any doubt, remove it. Tommy. I am a Tommy through and through. St. Paul, what's up? My heart is with you guys.
St. Tommy's all the way around. New Age also coming in with St. Thomas. Kind of looking forward to the Tommies coming to NDSU next weekend. That is the final game for the Bisons. I'm not so sure New Age. New Age is a Bisons fan, so he's going to get a chance to see him up close and personal.
I said they've only lost 4 games in the month of November. It may be 5 if they're next week.
It might be 5. It might be 5. All right.
Probably will be 5.
This is a game that is crucial for Lafayette. They're 7-3, 5-0 in the conference, and trying to hang tight with Lehigh. They have a final matchup with Lehigh next week. It's the last meeting between Lafayette and Richmond was 2005, and it was a barn burner, 7-0. The Leopards picked up the win. Matter of fact, 3-0 against Richmond are the Leopards. The conference implications is a monster game for the Leopards now. The Lafayette is undefeated in conference play, controls their own destiny for the Patriot League title if new member Richmond's final conference game before their rivalry week. A win here puts Lafayette on the doorstep of the first Patriot League championship. They've got to knock off Lehigh. We shall see what happens. They run through Jaden Edwards, who leads the league with over 1,000 yards rushing and 15 touchdowns, coming off a 260-yard performance last week with 3 touchdowns against Colgate. Also, quarterback Dean DeNoble, who joined us last year. They had a big FBS win, and he came on the show. It's great talking to that young man. He's having another good season. He's got over 2,100 yards passing and 16 touchdowns, while Richmond rely on a balanced dual-threat quarterback, Kyle Wickersham, and they also mix in that Ashton Snelser. Wickersham has thrown for 990 yards and 5 touchdowns and rushed for 4 touchdowns, while Snelshire has thrown for 705 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, but 5 interceptions. You got to keep the ball and possess the ball there as a quarterback. Running back, one of the better names, we haven't called him a lot, Aziz Foster Powell paces the ground game for Richmond, 501 yards, 3 touchdowns. A dual quarterback system there, Brandon, for Richmond. Lafayette needs a win. They're undefeated. What are you thinking here?
Well, I think Lafayette needs to tune out of the noise of what's potentially at stake for them next week.
Mm-hmm.
So dare I say they need to be Def Leopards.
Okay.
No, but seriously, I think the offense for Lafayette is going to be the difference in this game. I don't think it's going to be a wide margin. I think Lafayette can win this game by a field goal potentially. And to Ron's point in the chat, I love gambling talk. We're talking about fading Lafayette and the FCS Patriot League. I love it. But to his point, I think they could win the game. I don't know what the spread is on the game. Maybe he can tell us in the chat what that spread is. But I think they win the game. But I think it's only going to be by a field goal or so. I think this is going to be a tight game for the Leopards.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. My gut feeling says Richmond wins this football game. They do have William and Mary next week, which is their rivalry game. But this is their conference now, so. I just have to go with Lafayette because they've been there, they've doing it. They're kind of on a roll. We'll see if that continues. I'm going to go with Lafayette as well, Coach Jackson.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it quick. I'm gonna go with Lafayette because it's a basketball season in Richmond right now.
Yeah, well, there you go. I think we got Lafayette across the board there for everybody. Got to be careful though, Leopards. Got to be careful. All right, here's a game that I think most people want to talk about. This is the Illinois State and South Dakota State. If Chase Mason plays, it is a different ball game. But as it stands, Illinois 7-3, 4-2. South Dakota State 7-3, 3-3. South Dakota State won this game last year, 40-21. Actually, it was 2 years ago in 2023, 40-21. They lead the series 7-5. It's a must-win for both these teams. A loss severely damages the playoff resume for either squad in the MVFC for Illinois State. A win keeps them fighting in the top 3 finish in the league. For SDSU, suffering a 3-game skid. They got to stop that and hit the brakes. Chase Mason coming back would be a huge benefit. Illinois State's offense flows through quarterback Tommy Rittenhouse, who leads the team with 1,756 passing yards and 21 touchdowns. His top target is Daniel Sopkowitz, who's back, by the way. Was injured a couple of games. He's back. Woo! And 582 yards for him, 7 touchdowns. South Dakota State counters with a dominant ground game and has racked up 1,460 yards rushing, 14 touchdowns. South Dakota State has got to do something. Chase Mason, if he's back, great. If not, they've got a lot of question marks there on their football team. And Coach Jackson, I'll let you start here. Doesn't the poll feel like South Dakota State? I mean, just to me.
Listen, the best thing South Dakota State's got is they're playing at home, and they're gonna have they'll definitely have home field advantage. Yeah. However, I kind of expect Illinois State to play spectacular.
Hey-o.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that since
Brock's
Brandon
back. All right.
Yeah. I expect them to play spectacular, and I think I'm gonna say that Coach Spack brings them on the road with a good attitude, and they upset the Jackrabbits at home.
All right, Brandon, what are you thinking?
So what you know about this game is after the performance of Jack Henry against South Dakota, true freshman, played relatively well, looked better than Luke Marble did, or more comfortable than Luke Marble did at quarterback. Luke Marble was dressed out, was the emergency quarterback in the game. I don't think they can
From
go
Smyrna,
back to
Georgia, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think they can go back to Luke Marble at that point, just because the offense showed a little bit of signs of life. Guess what the bad part about that is? You had South Dakota not knowing who the quarterback was, so they kind of just generically prepared for whatever and adjusted on the fly. The tape is out there on the freshman quarterback, Jack Henry. That's not good.
Right.
Now you have somebody that can actually prepare for him. Now, I know you want to keep the illusion of, hey, we may have Chase Mason coming back. Odds are he's not playing. And odds are I don't know if I want to necessarily throw him in the fire of this game, knowing that potentially we're going to have to go score for score against Illinois State. I don't know if he could be 100% healthy for that. What you're probably going to see is Marble and Henry at some point. If Marble is healthy enough, they're going to rotate him in there and try to just play hot hand at quarterback. That's not a recipe to win this game. Illinois State has a number in mind. They know if they can get to 35 points, they're going to win the game. They know if they get to 42 points, they're going to dominate this game. I don't know how South Dakota State can keep up with that and get to that number. I think at a minimum, what you're shooting bare minimum for the Jackrabbits to win this game is 28 points. And maybe on your best day, you can hold Illinois State to 24. Again, I don't think that happens. I think Illinois State rolls in this game. I think it's going to be a very unfortunately depressing time in Brookings because they're going to lose 4 in a row. And that's something that they have not done in a very, very long time. And then your season, if you believe that you need to win 1 out of the last 2 games. And I think, honestly, that's wishful thinking because I think if they take a loss in this game and it's by a wide margin, the committee has the course correct or the pollsters have the course correct and drop South Dakota State into the mid-20s or potentially out. But your season is going to boil down to the last game, I believe, against North Dakota. And even that's not potentially a winnable matchup at this point. So give me Illinois State to roll.
All right, so Illinois State has scored 42 touchdowns on offense. South Dakota State has only scored 35 touchdowns, and that's lower end of the MVFC, by the way. But this South Dakota State defense has only allowed 18 points per game, just over 18.5 points per game. They're still a good defense. I saw a lot of missed tackles last week, and do they find a way to get it right? I still feel pulled to pull South Dakota State. That's just going to stop this. If Chase Mason comes back, great. I just feel like maybe this may be the time for the defense to step up and put the team on their back. So give me South Dakota State and a bit of an upset at home, which is unusual to say, Coach Jackson.
Well, I mean, if that's who you want, I mean, you can have them. I'm going to stick with the Redbirds. I done told you. I think it's going to be a spectacular game. So I'm staying with the Redbirds.
All right, and the chat looks like they're with Illinois State as well. So
hang on.
Except for my boy Haddock.
Hang on to Brandon Haddock's point. Anybody who goes to overtime when North Alabama isn't very good. What about the team that lost to Indiana State? Like straight up, one team went to overtime against UNA and won. The other team lost to Indiana State.
Yeah. Lyle comes in. By the way, Lyle also asked, do we have a set time for our podcast?
No.
Well, because we are all I have a full-time job. Brandon's a full-time father, dad. We try and do Monday night podcast and then Wednesday night podcast as well. But sometimes we got to call that old, Omaha. And that Audible. But if you like and subscribe on YouTube, you should get an alert when we're going live and join in. So that goes a long way, guys. If you guys can like and subscribe, we're right at the cusp of 170 subscribers, which is fantastic. We average about 600 to 800 views a week for our 2 shows. So it's fantastic. You guys are really doing us a huge favor. And by the way, the likes are way we'll have 400 views on a thing and have 10 or 12 likes. The likes real. I don't know that matters. The subscription I think is what matters. If you can like and subscribe and share, that goes a long way. But we don't have a set schedule yet because we all have all kind of things going on, Lyle. But we try to put it out on Twitter. Follow FCS CheckDown on Twitter. We'll put, or the X, and we'll put it out there when we do a show, the times and how to join. So, but subscribing is the best way to make sure you don't miss a show. So thank you so much for saying that, or mentioning that. All right. Out of the Southland, it's southeastern Louisiana and Incarnate Word. This is a critical matchup. Southeastern Sealaw had a big drop-off last week, and they took the L. Incarnate Word, they're a team that's struggling, but they're 4-6 and 2-4. It was UIW who won this game last year, 34-31. UIW owns the series. Matter of fact, they've won 2 in a row for the Lions. A win keeps them firmly in the hunt. For UIW, they can play a little bit of a spoiler. Should be an interesting matchup. The Lions have a potent running game with DeAndre Jackson. He's their rushing leader with over 500 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. Their defense is stingy, by the way, only allowing 18 points per game, which is 3rd in the conference and 13th in the nation. They're also very stingy in allowing first downs, while UIW is the number 1 team in the Southland in first down offense. So that should be a good matchup. The defense has limited opponents to passing for 165 yards per game, and number 1 in the Southland and number 9 nationally. Incarnate Word, despite their record, they're coming off an impressive victory. E.J. Colson, who we talked about, paces their team in the passing attack, 1,984 yards. Good numbers there. 16 passing touchdowns. He leads the Southland with 71% completion percentage. And UIW has the number 2 passing offense in the Southland, averaging 260 passing yards per game. They also have the number 2 rushing defense in the Southland. Can the Cardinals play spoiler and halt the Lions for playoff momentum? I think this one comes to me. I just haven't seen enough out of UIW to say they can. So I'm going to go with the Lions here, Coach Jackson.
Well, it depends on which Incarnate Word team shows up, and they seem to be a little bit more about their business in the last couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. I think Incarnate Word's got the better talent. I think they've got the better roster. I think Sela's probably a little more consistent, probably a little more of a team. It's going to take all cylinders to beat them. I don't know that Incarnate Word is motivated to play this week. So I'm going to say Sela says see ya. So I'm going to go with Sela.
All right, Coach. Brandon.
Here's the thing about Incarnate Word. When they were motivated to play, they weren't playing very good defense. So, if Coach, you say if they're not motivated to play, I hate to see what this defense looks like if they ain't motivated to play. E.J. Colson can't tackle everybody. Like I get it. He probably was an athlete in high school, but I don't think he's going out there playing defensive back and linebacker and putting his hand in the grass to try to get after the quarterback. I think that's where the problems are for Incarnate Word. And if you know anything about defense, that's all 3 phases. Coverage, linebackers, getting after the quarterback. They're not very good at that at any point there for Incarnate Word. So I can't – they may win this game, and they may make me look like a total idiot. But I can't, in good faith, given what I know and what I'm able to gather about Incarnate Word, pick them to win this game.
All right. You got Sela. Looks like the chat's going to go with Incarnate Word, so we'll see what happens here. Staying in the Southland, it is Lamar and Stephen F. Austin. Lamar 8-2, 5-1 in the conference. Stephen F. Austin 8-2, 6-0. SFA defeated Lamar last year 27-20, but it's Lamar who leads the series 16-15 despite losing the last 3 to SFA. The Lumberjack enters as a sole leader, boasting that undefeated conference record where Lamar just 1 game back, must force a tie for the top spot to keep their conference championship hopes alive. The winner of this game controls their destiny. Lamar Cardinals and the Lumberjacks should be fun here. Sam Vidlak, by the way, the quarterback for SFA, 1,874 yards, 15 touchdowns. Aiden McCown, 957 yards, 7 touchdowns for Lamar. Rushing, Xavier Coleman for the Cardinals, 387 yards. Jarrell Wembley with 728 yards. So a little tip to the cap to the Jacks there. Kendon Fusilier has the wide receiver the leading wide receivers with 8 yards per reception for Lamar, and Keelan Harris has 11.6 yards per reception. Should be a fun one. High-powered Lumberjack offense versus a pretty good defense for Lamar. I think we go back to Brandon on this one. Who you got here?
I'm going to go with Nasty Naxojosis to win this game. I'm going Stephen F. Austin. I love Kobe Carthel. Would love to talk ball with him all day, every day. I think this is the time they put it all together. And they win this game against Lamar, and then they have I don't want to call it a walkover, but they have a walkover against Northwestern State to end the game, to end the season, and they get into the playoffs. I think, this is where it's all coming together. I think some of the problems that they've had in the past, I think specifically for Stephen F. Austin has been, defensively. And then you have a quarterback in Sam Vidlak that you trust can go out there and manage and win the game. And being a game manager is not the worst thing in the world. As somebody you can go in there and trust not to turn the ball over, or go in there and knows the situation and can make a 75-yard drive take 6.5 minutes and really limit the opponent's opportunity to get back in the game. So I think with them and what they solved defensively, and just being a little bit more consistently defensively paired with Vidlak, I think this is the most complete team that Stephen F. Austin has had, at least in the time that we've been doing and talking to Kobe Carthel.
All right, Coach Jackson, I'm with SFA as well. I just like what they're doing. They're back. I really feel like that's a team that is going to be tough to beat. Lamar has kind of been up and down. So who you thinking?
If it's week 2 or 3, I would pick, and if they had him at home, I'd pick Lamar. But it's not week 2 or 3, and it's not a home game for Lamar. So, listen, Coach Carthel does a great job. He's got some dudes on defense. I think their defensive line is one of the best in the Southland Conference. They've got it, rolling downhill now. I do not expect a letdown. I expect a lively environment in Nacogdoches, and I think that's where the Texas State Prison Museum is, or some mess like that. But I expect a lively performance despite being the home of the Texas State Prison Museum, and I expect Stephen F. Austin to handle their business.
All right, SFA, and it looks like Ron Lowney's got Lamar in the upset for the chat. Okay, we'll take it. All right, up next, final game of the show for Pick'ems. It's UC Davis and Montana State. UC Davis 7-2, 5-1 in the conference. Montana State 8-2 and 6-0. Montana State, a very close game last year, 30-28 was the final score. Montana State has dominated the series. They're 7-1. So all eyes are going to be on this one in the evening. UC Davis must win to keep their title hopes alive. An at-large bid is also firmly on the table for the Aggies. They're led by that freshman quarterback Caden Pennick, who is approaching 2,000 yards passing and 20 touchdowns. He's a talented group of wide receivers, including Samuel Gabato Jr. with 8 touchdowns and Stacy Dobbins as well. The run game has been consistent for the Aggies, averaging 188.4 yards per game. Running back Jordan Fisher has 4 touchdowns. He eclipsed 100-yard mark the 3 out of the last 4 games. So watch for him. If he has a good run game on the ground, this is going to be tough for Montana State, but the Bobcats are pretty freaking good too. Their junior quarterback is Justin Lamson, who leads the team with over 2,000 yards passing, 18 touchdowns. He also has 18 rushing yards as well. He leads the nation with a 72% passing completion. He's complemented by explosive receiving core of Taco Dowler, and his twin brother, by the way, is Caden Dowler, who leads the team with tackles. He's got 60 tackles and 35 solo. The Bobcats are number 1 in the Big Sky on third down conversions, nearly 50%.
I'm calling him Quesadilla.
Their opportunities. Running back Julius Davis has more than 700 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns, and Adam Jones is a bruiser with 9 touchdowns. Quesadilla Caden. I wonder if he's ever heard that before.
Probably. I would hope I'm not the original one that comes up with that
I hope
one.
not either. All right, UC Davis and Montana State. Brandon, what do you? No, I think this is back to, I don't know. Coach Jackson, you start.
Man, you know how I feel about Coach Plow and the Aggies. I think they've got a good team, but I think they're about to run into a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
I think Montana State wins. I also think they win big because they're playing for seeding purposes now. So I think they win big.
UC Davis has surprised me at times. We talked about their slow start, but they've done a really good job here late in the season, just kind of hanging on. 7-2, 5-1. They're a grind-out team. They got a win against Idaho in a pretty dominating fashion. Pretty impressed with that. They ain't seen anything like Montana State and Brent Vegan's bringing. So Ron Lowney comes in with the Bobcats favored by 15. They're at home. I've been to that stadium. It is a beautiful stadium, and I think the high is going to be in the 40s or something like that. So the California boys might not be ready for it. Give me Montana State. Brandon.
Yeah, I think coming off of getting the Weber State coach fired, this for Montana State is another one of those games. It's an L&D game, leave no doubt. They know what they have coming up next week against the Grizzly, and to Coach Ron's point, that is going to be a game for a bye. Guaranteed winner gets a guaranteed bye next week. For UC Davis, their playoff hopes really, you win this game, you probably are in. But UC Davis, their playoff hopes are going to come down to, I believe they call it the Causeway Classic between them and Sacramento State. Because I do think the Big Sky will get at least 3 teams in there. I mean, why not? So it's going to come down to UC Davis or Sacramento State, unless the committee wants to pull one out of their hat and put Northern Arizona in again like they did last year, which who knows what they decide to do.
I think it was a makeup when they left him off a couple years earlier.
Yeah, so who knows what they decide to do
fired.
in that conference room. But I think for UC Davis, their playoff hopes are going to hinge on the game next week against Sac State. But Montana State leaves no doubt in this game. And I don't know what the television plan is for next week, but Montana needs to be on national television, or else somebody is doing themselves a disservice. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that.
It is currently listed as an ESPN Plus game, but I would imagine, you know what? If YouTube is smart, I guess they probably have some kind of contract with Big Sky. This whole YouTube TV and ESPN dispute is maddening because it cuts your games in half. And for those of us who have the YouTube television package, and yeah, $20 a month off is nice, but give me our settle that bull crap and let's get our football back on here in the most important time of the season. By the way, we didn't pick Montana. They played Portland State. I saw someone in there in Montana asking about that game. They'll win. They'll be fine. Yeah.
So will North Dakota State. Don't ask us to pick that game.
Yeah, they got Murray State. Who they have?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Dude, Murray State is the best 0-10 team in the country.
Says you. Says you. I don't know of another 0-10 team in the country, honestly. Dang.
Exactly.
Dang. All right, gentlemen. Well, that wraps up the show here. Week 12. I am traveling to Virginia this weekend. Should be back Monday. So we will, Lyle, we will schedule a Monday night show. And hopefully we'll have, by the way, Montana favored by 35 over Portland State. Yeah, they'll cover. Northern Iowa's who NDSU has. Thank you so much, New Age. Yep. So, gentlemen, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Any big plans, Brandon? I know you're still painting and settling in the new house.
We have the historic Braselton Holiday Festival and Parade on Saturday.
Hey.
So we get our first tree lighting of the year.
Very
on
nice.
November the 15th.
Very nice. Where was I? Oh, we had a Thanksgiving feast at my work this week today, so it was nice. Coach Jackson, you're going to go pick up your glass. What'd you say, decanter?
Yeah, I'm picking up my decanter and glass set up in Berea on my way to Richmond. We'll get there Friday. My wife done already told me she wants to leave about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll try and get up there and have a little, try and catch up with my son a little bit, and then enjoy the game, and then we're going to come back Sunday so I can be here bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for our show on Monday.
Nice.
Well,
I'll be up north as well. My grandmother turns 102 years old on Tuesday. So I'll be up there celebrating her birthday.
Well, to Coach Ron, a decanter is only missing 2 parts from being very popular on the college campus.
The alcohol.
Well,
You blow 2 more pieces of glass, attach it to it.
Hey-o. Oh yeah.
well, now
I got you.
You know what? When we went on our honeymoon, we honeymooned in Jamaica, and I had a decanter. I guess a decanter for herbs. I guess is what you call it. Maybe you know, didn't take nearly as long.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If we hear a knock on Coach Ron's door, we know what's happening. Yeah. All right. Hey, chat, you guys have been awesome. Thank you again for all the interaction. You guys make it such a fun time. Chris Monstrangelo with lots of picks. Ron Lowney also, New Age, good stuff. Lyle, great to see you. We had a couple of newbies in the mix as well. Brandon Haddock back with us.
We didn't get to put Brandon Haddock's message up back in the response that the Missouri Valley is supposed to beat everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the SEC where, the Kentucky is going to be chanting SEC if an SEC team wins the national championship where,
Yeah, exactly. Well,
ducks fly together.
That's right. Ducks fly together. Well, we're going to fly out of here. We will be back Monday night with a Week 12 recap, and then it's go time. Final week of the FCS week is coming up. It's going to be fun. It's going to be crazy. Chaos is the word. You guys have a great weekend. Thanks again, chat. Like and subscribe and share the show. For Brandon Joseph, for Coach Ron Jackson, I'm Nathan McCreary. This has been the FCS Checkdown. Let's go.